Hey guys, welcome back to Games of War. It's been quite some time since I've done a video, and I'm working on something pretty big right now. I think you guys will enjoy it. But I wanted to come on real quick and just talk about a few things. Number one, if you can't get enough of listening to me talk about games, which I'm sure there's all 5 of you that feel that way, I don't make a lot of videos these days. I'm really busy. However, I do a podcast. I do a podcast with Corn Muffin X Joe. It's called the CXG Podcast. And it's a lot of fun. We have great topics, great conversation. If you want to listen to that, we've got our own YouTube page now. I'll leave a link in the description. You guys can definitely go check that out. But on a more kind of sad note, and I'm kind of a week late on this, Airtight Studios is no more. And for those of you that don't know who Airtight Studios is or just don't care, they're a studio that was formed from the demise of another studio. Back in the early Xbox days, there was a studio called Fastest Studios that made a game called Crimson Skies, which I was a big fan of, and also Mech Assault, which is another great game. Crimson Skies had some excellent flight controls, a really cool storyline. Mech Assault was a shooter with some great destructible environments. After they broke up, a new studio was formed, which was Airtight Games. Now they've made some other games as well, Quantum Conundrum, something like that. They've done iOS games and even an Ouya game, but their first major retail release was Dark Void. Already the name Dark Void probably stirs up a lot of emotions with many of you that follow games. It can be considered Capcom generic crap, a terrible game because it was reviewed by IGN, got a 5. Got pretty mediocre scores across the board. There were a few 7s and 8s, but overall, I think the general public consensus of Dark Void is that it's crap. However, I played the game, finished it, and I really enjoyed Dark Void. It runs on the Unreal 3 engine. It stars a character named William Gray. It is voiced by Nolan North, and he doesn't do much different than Drake, so it's kind of weird to see a guy that kind of looks like Drake and is Drake, talks like Drake, playing not Drake. That was a little, off-putting at first, but I got used to it. Really good voice acting, and the game really had an interesting theme, and that's kind of a continuing occurrence with both Dark Void and their final game, Murdered Sole Suspect, which they released that game and then closed up shop, I think, a week later. We'll get to Murdered in a second, but the game Dark Void has a storyline that takes place in the Bermuda Triangle, and right there, when I first heard of this game being developed, that had me sold right there. I've always been fascinated with the Bermuda Triangle, and I heard the game had a jetpack. And right there, that's another reason to have me sold. I like jetpacks. I've always wanted to own a jetpack. I think that would be one of the coolest, damn cool things in the world to have a jetpack and be able to fly around. So the game already had me there. Now the game also combines a third-person cover-based shooter, kind of like Gears of War, but there's a lot more going on in this game. It's got some really good graphics, like I said, running on the Unreal Engine 3. It looks quite good. It introduced a kind of like a vertical, you shoot like straight up in the sky, and there's a lot of ledges you jump up to and shoot straight down or shoot straight up, and it was really cool. I'd never really experienced gunplay like that before. I thought it worked really well. And then later on in the game you get the jetpack, and it starts off, it's not really fully functional. You can use it to hover for short periods of time and make big jumps, and then eventually you do get the jetpack all souped up and firing on all cylinders, and you can fly, and that's when the game takes on a whole identity of its own. It starts off like kind of a Me Too Gears of War cover-based generic shooter, but the story kicks into high gear. There's these watchers that actually live in this void that William Gray, who's the character, gets sucked into when he's flying his plane through the Bermuda Triangle and gets trapped in this void, and it becomes really interesting. Don't take it super serious, or but if you're not overly picky, there's a lot to like in Dark Void, and it never really got a fair chance. I know a few people, close friends of mine, actually enjoy the game too, but once the story starts unfolding, you get that jetpack, and you can use its full abilities, and the game becomes like a mixture of flying and on foot. You can land at will. Some stages have you flying the whole way through. Some pretty good variety, and a really cool alien, UFO, Bermuda Triangle mystery story all come together to form quite a memorable game. I really enjoyed Dark Void. It never got the sales or any of the attention that it was due. So fast forward past Dark Void, they announced another game, Murdered Soul Suspect. This is a game I hadn't heard much of at all until I think a month or two before it was released. I started seeing pictures advertising the game Murdered, and I started reading up on this game, and once again it sounded like a very unique game. So I went ahead and picked the game up for the PlayStation 4. It came out, I believe, in June 2014. And I'm going to say this right away, if you're looking for a showpiece for the PlayStation 4, Murder is not your game. It's barely better looking than a PlayStation 3 game, and I just think it's the resolution that looks better. But what Murdered is a really unique game. I guess the closest thing is like kind of Ghost Trick and a little bit of LA Noire. You play as a cop, Ronin, who is a felon that has been, kind of forgiven of his past sins, and you join the force. And while you're out pursuing this bell killer that has been, excuse me, wanted by the police, you get murdered, and you watch your own death, and you try to come back, but this bell killer comes by and finishes you off for good with a couple of shots. And what comes from there is a kind of ghost story where you explore the setting, which is really cool, which is in Salem. So you've got kind of like a whole backdrop of the Salem witchcraft storylines. And this game has you piecing together your murder from your eyes, and you meet all kinds of cool characters, all kinds of other ghosts. And the cool thing about the game is not only are you trying to solve your murder, you meet all these different people that have either committed suicide or been killed, and you hear their story, and these people can't remember that they were killed. They don't know why they were killed, and you help them out, and you piece together their murders all along the way, and you unravel these really awesome stories. And you put these ghosts at ease, and they go to heaven, and you give them closure by piecing together these clues. And I had a lot of fun doing that. And not to mention, there's all these different ghost stories from the locations you visit. You'll find these little clues, and you'll piece together these ghost stories, and there's just all kinds of awesome tales going on and lore. And it's just a really unique game. I mean, this is a studio that took some chances, and it wasn't just about shooting stuff and blowing stuff up. It was different kinds of genres and taking new risks. And what do they get for a reward? They release a game, and once again, Murdered, I think, fared a little more well than Dark Void, but I don't think it got stellar reviews. But they released the game, and the reward is getting shut down. So I was just kind of upset by that. I think that this industry needs original games, and Airtight, while not by any means, I'm not coming on here and saying that Airtight was like a AAA studio, made the best games ever, but they made some unique games. I'm sad to see them go. It's unfortunate. Guys, if you want to check out some of the games from Airtight Studios, like I said, the iOS stuff, the Ouya stuff, I think a few downloadable games. Dark Void you could probably get for, I think, $5. And Murdered might be full price still on the PS4, but it's bound to drop soon. I don't think it's sold very well. Once again, a few of my friends that played it really love it as well. I'm sure it'll be dropping in price, so definitely give it a try. If you can find it for a good price, I think you'll enjoy it. It's definitely something different. Sad to see Airtight Games go, guys. I just wanted to come on and share my feelings for the studio. Hope to see you guys soon with the next video. Thank you for watching. Games of War is nothing without you.